Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom and welcome back to today's Daf, which is Pesachim Memtes. We begin at the top of the Amud, says the Mishnah, Arba'a Asar, Shechaliyas b'Shabbos. If the 14th day of Nisan, Erev Pesach, falls out on Shabbos, when do we do Biur Chametz? Mivarnes HaKoil, Milifnei HaShabbos, Divei Rabbi Meir. According to Rabbi Meir, you're meant to destroy all chametz before Shabbos, of course, except for what you absolutely need for Shabbos, the 2 Sudays worth. But everything else, take care of before Shabbos, so that you don't have to engage in unnecessary tircha on Shabbos. You can leave everything for Shabbos. Perhaps I'll need it. There's no need to do bir chametz before Shabbos. Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, it depends. Truma milfnei Shabbos. When it comes to truma, in which case you know there are very few customers for truma. Only the kohen and his animals. So you know that there's no need for this truma to be around on Shabbos. In that case, do biur before Shabbos. However, v'chulim bizmanon, something which is not truma, leave over for Shabbos, perhaps he'll need it. And then he can do, at worst case, he'll do biur on Shabbos itself. Tanya, I'll prove my point with a story. Pamachas Shabbos Abba b'Yavne. There was once a story with my father. Father was Reb Tzaddik, right? So he spent Shabbos in Yavne, which was Rabbi Gamliel's place. V'chol arba asar lis b'Shabbos. So it was Erev Pesach on Shabbos. Uba Zoinen Memuna Shron Gamliel. Zoinen, who was the one in charge of Rabbi Gamliel's home there, he came and he announced, V'omar higia eis levaris hachametz. Look, time for bir chametz has arrived. V'alachti achar Abba. So I followed after my father, Ubi Arnes HaChametz, and we did Bir Chametz. So apparently the official Zman Bir Chametz is actually on Shabbos itself. And this supports my Shita, that although Truma is meant to be taken care of before Shabbos, but at least when it comes to Chulin, the official Zman Bir is on Shabbos itself. Says the Mishnah, Ha'hoilech lishchaytes Pischai. A person is on the way to take care of his Korban Pesach, to be sheichet his Korban, V'lamelos B'nai, or to do Mila for his son, or to go partake in a Sudas Erison, which was a Sudas Mitzvah, an engagement Suda, Bebeis Chamev, in the home of his father-in-law. So unlike today where we do the Erison and the Nisum, at one time, in one shot, they used to have a 2-phase system. There was Erison, where they would get engaged, and then later on they would complete it with the Nisun. So their practice was to make a Suda to mark the occasion of the Erison. That is considered a Sudas Mitzvah. So if this individual is on the road, on the way to doing a mitzvah, the Korban Pesach, Mila, or the Sudas Erison, and what happened? He remembers that he has some chametz back at home, which he hadn't yet destroyed. So what does he do? Does he go back? Or not? If he has enough time available to go back home, destroy that chametz, and then resume his journey, continue on the trip for the mitzvah, then he's meant to go back, destroy his chametz, and resume the journey. But if he doesn't have enough time available, it's either this or that. He should just nullify the chametz in his heart, do bittul, which minat Torah is sufficient. Right? With the Rabbanon, they required both elements, bittul and bir. But in this case, where it's at the expense of a mitzvah, they waived that chiyuv, just do bittul, and you're okay. So in the first category in the Mishnah, we have a person who is on the way to a mitzvah, and the equation is what? Whether, if it's at the expense of the mitzvah, then just do bittul. If he can handle both, efshel kaim shneim, go back, be invar the chametz, and then continue on to the mitzvah. The second case is lahatzel min hanochrim. Suppose he's going to save Yidden from Nachrim, from Goyim, or min hanor, or from a river, a flood, umin alistim, from bandits, umin adleika, from a fire, umin apelos, from a collapsed structure. In which case he's involved in saving lives, pikuach nefesh. In this case, yivata b'liboy. In any case, at any rate, even if there's enough time available to go back home and still do the pikuach nefesh, no. Yivata b'liboy, just do bittul. We don't want you to get preoccupied with other matters and perhaps neglect the pikuach nefesh. So in this case, we just say bittul and then continue on the journey. The third case is Velishbois Shvisas Rishus. Let's say he's on the way to placing an Erev Tchumen at the end of the 2000 Amma boundary, which will enable him to walk past that on Shabbos. But it's for a non-mitzvah purpose. Shvisas Rishus. Tosfos learns that he's going to spend Yom Tov by relatives. So although it's a good thing, perhaps considered a mitzvah somewhat, but it doesn't equate to the mitzvahs that we discussed earlier, the Pesach, the Milah. It's not on the same level. So the Mishnah regards it as Shvisas Horishus, a voluntary Shvisa. So since it's a non-mitzvah activity, and he just reminded himself that he left some chametz at home, Yachzor miyad, he needs to go back immediately to tend to his chametz, even if it's going to be at the expense of what he's doing. So you have three categories. Number one, pikuach nefesh, just proceed. Do bittul and proceed. If it's a non-mitzvah activity, you have to go back regardless. If it's a mitzvah activity, then if you can do both, go back and do beer, and still accomplish the mitzvah, you're meant to do that. But if he doesn't have enough time available for both, do bittul and proceed with the mitzvah. Continues the Mishnah. V'chein, a similar halacha we found in the case of Misha Yotzam Yerushalayim. If a person finds himself out of Yerushalayim, he recalls that he has in his possession a piece of basar of kochim. And it's out of Yerushalayim. It's now posel, b'yoytze, left the boundary. And the halacha is, as Rashi explains, any kochim which become posel are meant to be burnt back in their home territory. So for instance, if we're speaking about kochim kalim, as Tosfos explains, in this case, where is the home territory? In Yerushalayim. Because that's where you eat the kochim kalim. That's where you're meant to burn it if it's posel. So either you eat it properly or you burn it. But both takes place in the same location. And Tosfos actually learns that it's the Rabbanon here because this concept of burning it, b'makom kaddish, only applies to certain things, kachim, or the emuri kachim kalim, but not the basar kachim kalim. But in any case, there's a chiv to go back and burn it in Yerushalayim. But this fellow found himself outside Yerushalayim, holding on to basar kaddish, which is puzzle. What is he meant to do? Can he burn it right there, or does he have to go back? So it depends. If you already passed Tsoifim, which according to Rashi is the name of a town, from where you can see the Beis Hamikdash, or according to Tosfos, Tsoifim just means, it's a term, looking, a place, the lookout, where you can still see Yerushalayim from there. So if you already passed this area, the farthermost point, then we don't obligate him to go back and burn Yerushalayim. He can just burn it right where he is. But if he hadn't yet passed that point, he must go back to Yerushalayim and burn it in Yerushalayim. Or if he chooses, he can do it lifnei habira, in front of the bira. Tosfos brings up pshat that there's a place in Har Bayis called bira, so in front of that bira, me'atzem ha'rocha, using the wood designated for the mizbeach, he's allowed to use even that wood. Concludes the Mishnah. Okay, there's the chiv to come back, burn your chametz, burn the kachim. How much are we speaking about? Even just a crumb of chametz, a sliver of meat? No, it has to be something of significance. Va'ad kamein chayzr. For how much volume does he have to come back? We have a machlekes. Whether it's chametz or basar kachim, if it equals a share of kibetza, that's significant enough to require him to come back. We deal with a share kazayis. It doesn't have to be as large of it as a kibetza. It depends. Basar kodesh b'kazayis. When it comes to the basar of kodesh, that even a smaller amount, even a kazayis, obligates him to come back. The chametz b'kibetza. When it comes to chametz, we're more mekel. As long as it's not a shir kibetza, he doesn't have to come back. Tosfos brings a Yerushalmi that the chiluk between chametz and kodesh is like this, because when it comes to kodesh, there's no other option other than burning it. So more machmer. However, when it comes to chametz, since there's another option, a bittul, therefore more mekel, and we didn't require him to come back unless he has a significantly sized piece of chametz, which is a shir kibetza. So in conclusion, we have three categories in our Mishnah. If he's on his way to pikuach nefesh, just proceed, just do bittul, and keep on going. If it's a dvar rishus, come back and do beer. If it's a dvar mitzvah, then if you can handle both, fine. But if you can't, Just do bittul and continue on your trip. What are the 3 examples of mitzvah? Pesach, Milah, and Sudas Erison. The Sudas mitzvah, to mark the occasion of the Erison. Says the Gemara, that's called the Sudas mitzvah? Veramenu, we have a brisa which indicates otherwise. He's on the way to the Sudas Erison, the home of his father-in-law. Or on the way to set down the Erev Tchumen for a non-mitzvah purpose. Yachshar miyad, has to come back immediately. These aren't mitzvah activities. Even Sudas Erison is not a mitzvah. The answer is, depends who's speaking. Rabbi Yehuda, this price is Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that it's not a Sudas mitzvah. Rabbi Yosi, our mission is Rabbi Yosi, who holds that indeed Sudas Erison, which marks the first phase in the marriage procedure, the Erison, then the Nesuim. So that's called a Sudas mitzvah. It's celebrating a mitzvah, first phase in a mitzvah. Rabbi Yehuda evidently holds, no, that's not called a Sudas mitzvah. The Sanya, where do we find this machlekes? Sudas Erison Rishus. The Rabbi Yehuda, he holds that it's not a Sudas mitzvah. Rabbi Yosi, I'm a mitzvah. So our Mishnah is Rabbi Yosi, the Bryce is Rabbi Yehuda. Vahash Adam Rav Chizda. Now that Rav Chizda explained to us, machlekes, this entire discussion, this machlekes is only Besuda Shniya, regarding the second meal. Rashi explains that when they did the Erison, the engagement, they would mark it with a Suda. So that was the initial Suda, the Suda Rishayna. And then the Chassan would send some gifts. And to mark that, they would have another celebration, the gift ceremony. And that was the Suda Shniya. It says Rav Chizda all agree, the Suda Rishayna, which is coming to celebrate the actual engagement, the Erison, certainly that's a Suda mitzvah. The machlekes is merely regarding the second Suda, which is coming to celebrate the gifts and the matanas, the sivloinus, Rashi says. So here's the machlekes. Rabbi Yossi says that's also part of the mitzvah, part of the erison to generate goodwill. Where Rabbi Yehuda says no, it's simply marking the acceptance of the gifts, and therefore it doesn't constitute a sudas mitzvah. So machlekes is b'suda shniya. Machlekes is only regarding that second meal. B'suda shayna, but regarding the initial meal, tivra kol mitzvah, all agree it's a mitzvah. So knowing that, we can say like this: Afilu tema hava Rabbi Yehuda. You can even say the Mishnah and the Brisa are both following Rabbi Yehuda. But like kasha, and the answer is like this: depends on which meal we're speaking about. Ha b'suda rishayna. Our Mishnah, which regards the sudas erison as a sudas mitzvah, is referring to the first suda at the time of engagement, which is the sudas mitzvah according to all shittas. Ha b'suda shniya, the Brisa, which does not regard the sudas erison as a sudas mitzvah, is speaking about the second meal, the festivities on account of the gifts. And though that Suda according to Rabbi Yehuda is not a Sudas mitzvah. Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda, Ani lo shamati ela Sudas erison. I only accepted that the Sudas mitzvah is the first Suda, the Sudas erison, coming to celebrate, to mark the occasion of the actual engagement, which is the first phase in the mitzvah, the erison, the nesuin, avalois of noinis. But not the Suda, which is simply coming to mark the gifts. That's not called a Sudas mitzvah. Amar Rabbi Yossi, ani shamati Sudas erison v'sivloinus. I actually heard that both the Sudas erison and the Sudas sivloinus are both considered a Sudas mitzvah. Okay, so in summary, according to Rav Chizda, the Sudas erison is considered a Sudas mitzvah according to all shittas, and that's what our Mishnah is speaking about. Whereas the Suda shniya, which was conducted when he sent the gifts, according to Rabbi Yehuda, that's not a Sudas mitzvah. According to Rabbi Yossi, even that's considered part of the mitzvah, part of the erison, the nesuin, the puravu, and is also considered a Sudas mitzvah. Continuing on the topic of Sudas mitzvah, says the Gemara Tanya, Rabbi Shimon Omer, Kol Suda she'eina shel mitzvah. Any banquet which is a non-mitzvah Suda, ein Talmid Chacham ra'ashoy lahanis mimena. Talmid Chacham, who is expected to conform to higher behavioral standards, he's not allowed to have anah from a non-mitzvah feast. Kigoy, what is an example of a Suda she'eina shel mitzvah? Rabbi Yechanan, here's a chiddush. Kigoy bas koyin l'Yisrael. The Suda, which is conducted to mark the engagement and marriage of a Bas Kohen, a daughter of a Kohen, to a Yisrael, she's not meant to do that, because it's considered to be a downgrade to her high status. A Bas Kohen is meant to marry a Kohen, or is going to see soon at least a Talmud Chacham. But if she marries a Yisrael, that's considered to be a degradation to her status. So therefore that Suda is a non-mitzvah Suda. Bas Talmud Chacham Lamaretz. Another example is a Bas Talmud Chacham who chooses to marry an Amaretz. It's an inappropriate zivuk, and that Suda is not considered a Sudas mitzvah. Dam Rabbi Yehuda, Bas Kohen Yisrael, if a Bas Kohen marries a Yisrael, Ein Zivugan Oile Yafe. The zivuk, the match, will not develop properly. What does that mean? Amar Chizda Oy Almana Oy Grusha. Either she'll become an Almana, or get divorced, or Zera Enla, or won't have children. Masni Satana, Nabraisi we learned, Kaivra Oy Kavrasai. Either he'll bury her ahead of time, Oy Kavrasai, or she'll end up burying him young, Oy Mivi Asde Anis, or she'll bring him to poverty. It's inappropriate. Eini, is that so? For Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Haroit says she's Asher. If a person wants to get wealthy, what should he do? Yidbak B'zar Shel Aaron. He should cleave to the descendants of Aaron. Kolshkein, certainly should Torah with Kahuna. That combination of his Torah with her Kahuna, Mashrasan, will make them wealthy. So you see, it is appropriate for Bas Kohen to marry Yisrael. So it's more like Kasha. The answer is, it depends who she's marrying. Talmud Chacham. If she's marrying a Talmud Chacham, that's fine. That's considered to be somebody in par. Ma'aretz, but if she marries a Ma'aretz, that's considered to be lowering her standards, and it won't be a successful zivuk. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yeshua Nasav Kahanta. Rabbi Yeshua married a Bas Kohen. Chala, she fell ill. And in his great humility, he said, Omar, apparently Aaron HaKohen is not too pleased. The Ibak Bezari, that I should connect to his descendants. The Havalik Chasna Kiano, to have a son like me. Rav Yehuda bar Avin, Nasav Kahanta. Rav Yehuda bar Avin married a Bas Kohen, and he was Zoicha. Nafku minei. From him came out Trei B'ni Smichi. Two sons who were Rabbanim, who had Smicha, Rav Sheshes B'nei Ravidi, Rav Yeshua B'nei Ravidi. So indeed, because he was a Talmud Chacham with a Bas Kohen, it's a great combination. Amra Papa, Eloi Nesivna Kahanta. If I hadn't married a Bas Kohen, Lo Yatri, I would never have gotten wealthy. Amra Kahana, Eloi Nesivna Kahanta. If I hadn't married a Bas Kohen, Loi Galoi, I would not have gone into exile. There was a story that Rav Kahana killed a Yid who was a Meiser, who was giving over the property of a Yid to the Goyim, and he killed him. And the authorities pursued him, and he had to run away. He ran to Eretz Yisrael. So Rav Kahana attributed that punishment that he had to endure due to the fact that he married a Kohenes. And again, this was an expression of Anova. I shouldn't have married a Kohen. I'm unfit to marry Bas Kohen. So they told him, follow Makom Torah Galisa. It's true that you went into Golas, but where did you go? You went to Makom Torah, to Eretz Yisrael. So he said, but still, Legaloi Kedegali Inshi. I didn't travel, I didn't go into Golas like ordinary people do. You know, Talmud chooses to go find a Makom Torah, but I was fleeing, I was on the move, I was running away from the authorities. And that's considered to be an Einish. Amar Yitzchak, Kol Nena Mesudus Rishus. If a person is Nena, he indulges in a non-mitzvah feast, Kol Nena Mesudus Rishus, let's say Goyla, eventually he'll go into Golas. Shenemar va'oichlem kar mitzoin, those who eat these fat animals, va'golam mitech marbek, these calves. Uksiv, what does the pasuk say? Lochein ato yiglu b'rish goylim. This is the pasuk admonishing Klal Yisrael for overindulging in pleasures, which will lead them into Golas. Tan Rabban, kol Talmud Chacham hamar b'sudasai b'chol mokem. A Talmud Chacham who engages excessively, even in Sudais mitzvah. He's all over the place engaging in Sudais. Soif machares base. Eventually, he's going to destroy his household, his home. He's going to deplete his funds because to maintain this lifestyle, he's going to run out of money. Uma almanes ishtay. In order to maintain his habit, he's going to have to travel around to make some money, and he's going to cause his wife to be alone, to be an almana, and make his children Yisayim without a father. V'talmudim ishtakech menu. And due to the fact that he's not engaged in Torah study, his learning will be forgotten from him. Machlekes Rabbi's boislov, and many machlekes will descend on him. He's going to have to keep on buying on credit, max out his credit card, he's not going to have to pay back. And that's going to lead to machlekes. And his words won't be heeded. He's going to desecrate Hashem's name. Everyone will say, look, this is the behavior fit for Talmud Chacham. He's Machal Shem Shemayim, V'Shem Rabbi, V'Shem Aviv, V'Goyrem Shem Ra. Loy, he causes, he brings about a bad name for himself, Ula Banav, his children, Ula Bnei Banav, Atzef Kalderis, to the end of the generations. Mahi, how exactly do people refer to his children? What bad name gets attributed to them? Amar Abaye, Korele, they call him Bar Machim Tanuri, son of the oven warmer. The father's engaged in warming ovens and preparing meals all day. Rav Amar Bar Market Beikuvi, a son of a fellow who dances in the taverns. Rashi says the late son of these clowns would dance around, put on shows to earn some mashka, some wine. Rav Papa Amar Bar Malchich Pinchi, they call him the son of a plate liquor. Rav Shmai Amar Bar, a son of Mach Rava, a son of a fellow who folds up his clothing and crouches, like the drunkards who fold up the clothing and collapse in Mulder Street. A person should be willing to sell all his property, to enable him to marry a daughter of Talmud Chacham. So even if it involves selling all his assets to support himself, it's worth it. Why? Suppose he dies, or he goes into Gullus and he's off the scene. He's assured that his children will still be Talmid Chachamim because his wife, who's a Bas Talmid Chacham, who grew up with a tradition of Torah, mitzvahs, she'll maintain that lifestyle and ensure that his children will be Talmid Chacham. However, V'al Bas Amaretz, he should avoid marrying a daughter of Amaretz. Why? Because if he's no longer around, Banav Amaretz, his wife won't be able to maintain that lifestyle. She doesn't have the same chashivas for Torah, and his children won't develop into a Talmid Chachamim, Banav Amaretz. A person should be willing to sell everything that he owns, to enable him to marry a daughter of a Talmid Chacham. Likewise, he should be willing to give up everything to enable his daughter to marry a Talmid Chacham. Mashal, this type of good zivuk, this good shidduch, what is it analogous to? Le'in v'hagefen, bin v'hagefen. Like one produces wine, using grapes from one vine, grapes from the other, mixes them together. So the variety, the two types, they complement each other and create a good, high quality product. Dover na, something fine or miskabel, and accepted. V'lo'isa bas amaretz, but he should avoid marrying a bas amaretz. Actually the Stipler, Rabbi Yisrael Kanevsky, is known to have said that nowadays, any girl who goes to the Torah system, the Beis Yaakov system, who's imbued with the chashivas for learning Torah and keeping mitzvahs, in a certain respect is regarded like a Bas Talmud Chacham. So a person should seek to marry Bas Talmud Chacham, v'lo yisa Bas Amaretz. Mashal, what is that a mashal to? Le'ini v'agefen bin v'asneh, mixing the fruit of a vine with the berries of a thorn bush. Not a good combination. Davar kar, it's something undesirable. Ve'eni miskabel, and not accepted. Ton Rabban, lo'olam yimker adam kol ma sheyesh le. A person should be willing to sell all his properties. V'yisa bas Talmud Chacham, to enable him to marry a bas Talmud Chacham. Lo yimotza bas Talmud Chacham. If he couldn't find a bas Talmud Chacham, what's second best? Yisa bas Gedolei Hadar. Should marry a daughter of Gedolei Hadar. Rashi says, Anshi Ma'asav Tzadikim, righteous people. Lo yimotza bas Gedolei Hadar. He couldn't find that. What's the next choice? Yisa bas Roshei Knesiyos. He should marry the daughter of the heads of the community, of the Kehillah. Lo yimotza bas Roshei Knesiyos. If he couldn't find that, Yisa bas Gabbai Tzedakah. He should marry the daughter of the Gabbai Tzedakah, the Tzedakah administrators. Rashi says they're presumed to be fine people, trustworthy people. Lo yimotza bas Gabbai Tzedakah. He couldn't find that. Yisa bas Melamed Tinoikes. He should marry the daughter of the Melamed Tinoikes of the Rebbe. V'lo yisa, but at all costs, he should not marry Bas Amei Oretz. Why? Rashi describes the Amei Oretz in this context, as opposed to Amei Oretz earlier, which was merely an ignoramus. He was speaking about a person who disregards Torah mitzvahs. So he should avoid that at all costs. Mipnei shein sheketz. They're considered like vermin. They're saying sheretz, and their wives are sheretz. On the daughters of the Amei Oretz, the pasuk says, Orur, sheichem kol behema. Rashi explains because they're similar to behema, they have no lave, they have no appreciation for Torah mitzvahs, they disregard mitzvahs, not meticulous about the observance of Torah mitzvahs. So keep away at all costs. Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda, Amei Oretz, asur lechol basar. And Amei Oretz is not meant to eat basar. Shenemar zois Torahs habeim v'oif. We learn from there, Torah, zois ha-Torah habeim v'oif, kol ha'osek b'Torah, person who's engaged in Torah study, mutar lechol basar, behem v'oif. He has a right and privilege to eat the basar of the animals. As the Maral explains, when a person learns Torah, he's now in a superior state. And he has the privilege to eat something which is consumed, something which is lower in rank, the animal. That's what it's meant to be. The lower is meant to feed the higher. But a person who neglects Torah study and doesn't develop that superior madrega, so he's not really above the animal. He has no right to eat it. So it's actually a tikkun. It's actually beneficial for the animal to be eaten by the Talmud Chacham. It's a schus for the animal to support the Talmud Chacham. Because a person is not engaged in Torah study, also lechol basa behem v'oif, he may not eat basa behem v'oif. Amar Blazer, Amei Oretz. Now we're speaking about a different type of Amei Oretz. Tosfos explains that this fellow is a violent fellow and is suspected of shvichas damim. This fellow you have to kill. Mutar l'noichra b'yom kippurim. You can go out and do nechira. So nechira is a term used in chulin by shchita. So there's shchita and then there's nechira. You pull out the windpipe, the food pipe. That's how you kill the animal. This is Amei Oretz. You can do nechira to him, even on Yom Kippur. Shechol liyas b'Shabbos. The Maral actually learns that it's not really literal. It just means that this Amei Oretz doesn't deserve to live. Amalei Talmidav, Rebbe, Talmidav turned to Rabbi Lezer and said, Rebbe, why are you making references specifically to nechira? Rebbe, why don't you speak about doing shchita? Amar Lezer, he says, I don't want to even give him that. Zeton bracha. Shchita requires a bracha. As the Maral explains, that indicates the fulfillment, that the behemoth's purpose in this world has been fulfilled. You make a bracha by the shchita. V'zeh eino toin bracha nechira, which is not a proper shchita, doesn't need a bracha. This Amei Oretz doesn't deserve to live. He hasn't fulfilled the purpose for living, so he doesn't even deserve a bracha. So that's why I specifically made reference to nechira. Amar Blazer, Amei Oretz, asur lislav v'zima b'derech. One may not accompany him on a trip. Shenemar ki yichayecha v'erichimecha. The Torah is your life. And this Amei Oretz neglects Torah study. He neglects mitzvahs. Al chayev loichas. Look, he's even reckless about his own life. Al chayev chaver lekoshkein. Certainly, he's not too careful about his friend's life. Rashi says there's a concern they might get up and kill him. Omar Rab Shmuel Rachmeni Omar Rab Yochanan. Amei Oretz mutar lekoyer kedug. So again, we're speaking about this Amei Oretz, who's a violent fellow. You can rip him apart like you rip apart a fish to save any future potential victims. Rabbi Shmuel, he meant to rip him migabe from the back to make sure that he absolutely doesn't live. Tanya, Rabbi Kiva, Amei Oretz. We know that Rabbi Kiva for 40 years was an Amei Oretz. Says Rabbi Kiva, at that point, when I was still an Amei Oretz, Amarti, I would say, Miyiten li Talmud Chacham, v'anashchenu kachamar. I wish I can get a hold of a Talmud Chacham and I'll bite him like a donkey. Amar loy Talmidav. So Talmidav told him, Rebbe, Emor kikelav. Why don't you pick a more typical example of a dog biting? Why do you refer to a donkey? Amar lahen. A donkey is much more damaging. Zeh noishech v'shever. A donkey breaks the bones as he does so. Zeh noishech v'shever etzem. V'zeh noishech. However, a dog bites, ve'ein shever etzem. It doesn't break a bone. That's why I made reference to a donkey who inflicts greater damage. Interesting that Tosfos actually says that Rabbi Kiva, even when he was still on Aretz, was a tsanua umali. The Gemara says he was tsanua, had good midas, and he was a shomer mitzvahs. So why did he have this attitude to the Talmid Chacham? Taisa says because he perceived the Talmid Chachamim as though they are arrogant to the Amei Aretz and they disregard the Amei Aretz. So due to that false perception, that generated a sin in his heart, and he wished he can bite the Talmid Chacham. Tanya Hoyer Me'orim Kalamesi Bitel Amaretz, one who marries his daughter off to Amei Aretz, Ki'ilu Kaifsa Umanicha Al Fnei. It's as though he's binding her and placing her in front of a lion. Why? Ma'ari Doris V'Oichel, just as a lion. He attacks and he divorces. Mainly wishes upon him without any shame or embarrassment. He eats his prey while it's still alive. Af Ha'Ma'aretz, likewise in Ha'Ma'aretz, he acts inappropriately. Makeh beats his wife, Uboil, and then he engages in relations. Mainly wishes upon him. He has no shame. Taisa explains, he doesn't even wait to appease her. So this inappropriate behavior is common practice by Ha'Ma'aretz. Tanya, Reb Lezer, Ilmole on its lahem. If not for the fact that the Amei Aretz need us for commerce and business, they will go out and kill us. Tana Rabbi Yehuda, if a person engages in learning Torah in the presence of Amei Aretz, it's as though he is being boil his betrothed, his arusa, in front of the chassan, which is very embarrassing and inappropriate. Why? Shenemar, Torah tziva lana Moshe, Moirasha. So Moirasha simply means an inheritance. But we have a drasha. Al tikri Moirasha. Instead of Moirasha, we read Ela me'oirasa. Torah is like a college, betrothed to Klal Yisrael. And as Mashal explains, when Hashem presented the Torah to us, it's like a kala. Then when we actually engage in Torah study, we unite with the Torah, we bind with the Torah. And that's the level of nisun, like marriage. The Amei Aretz merely got the Torah, but he never engaged in it. He never bound himself to the Torah. It was never a bonding stage here. It remained his betrothed, his Mairasa. So when a person learns Torah in front of the Amei Aretz, it's as though he's bonding with the Amei Aretz's kala, because this Torah is still a Murasa for the Amei Aretz. So it shames him and embarrasses him. Continues the Gemara. Gedoyla sina shesoinin Amei Aretz, the Talmid Chacham. The hatred that the Amei Aretz have towards the Talmid Chacham is actually greater, higher in level. Yoiser misina shesoinin oide gechav mes Yisrael. The sin of Amei Aretz to Talmid Chacham is even greater than the sin of a goyto yid. Why is that? Because they're full of jealousy towards the Talmid Chacham, as opposed to the guy who just is out of the picture altogether. He doesn't have a jealousy, he doesn't have sinner. And actually the wives of the Amei Aretz, their sinner is even greater than their husbands. Why? Because at least the Amei Aretz recognizes the chashivas, the importance of the Talmid Chacham. He has appreciation towards it. Fine, he's jealous, he hates it, but he understands that he stands lower than the Talmid Chacham. So at least that much he knows, and he recognizes. Whereas the wives, they don't even recognize that. So it's just a plain hatred. Tana, we learned in the Brisa, Shano Pirish, one who was involved in learning Torah but then departed. Yoiser Mikulan, his hatred towards Talmid Chacham surpasses even all those, even the wives of the Amei Aretz. And the reason is, as Rashi explains, because he knows that the Talmid Chacham don't hold the Amei Aretz in such high regard. Therefore, he knows the inside story, and when he leaves Torah, unfortunately, he knows that they don't relate to him with too much respect. Tanarban, Shisha Dvarim Nemru B'Amei Aretz. There are 6 things said regarding the Amei Aretz. Number 1, a Moish Lehen Edus. Don't appoint them to testify. Ve'en Mekabel Menu Edus. We don't accept Edus. Ve'en Megal Lehen Soid. We don't reveal any secrets to them. They're not trustworthy. Ve'en Meman Oisan Apetropos Al Yisrael. We don't appoint them as a caretaker for the property of the Yisraelim. Likewise, we don't appoint them as a manager on the Kupa Shel Tzedakah. And we don't accompany them on the road because they're choshed al shlichus dam. Another thing, We find an Aveda which belongs to Amaretz. We don't announce, we don't look for the loser. Taisa says, how do we know that it belongs to Amaretz? He says there were a group of Amaretz walking, and he sees an item dropping. So he knows with certainty that it came from Amaretz, but he doesn't know which one. So there's no mitzvah Shabbos Aveda. Rashi explains because by Shabbos Aveda, the pasuk says, your brother, and the Amaretz who disregards Torah mitzvahs, he doesn't have that status. So this is the sheet of Yesh Omer, that were part of Shabbos Aveda. Tanakama, who did not include it in his list, apparently holds that he meant to return the lost item of Amaretz as well. But Tanakama, what does he hold? Zimnin denafik min zaram ali. Perhaps, although he's an Amaretz, maybe his child will be somebody righteous. He'll have a tzaddik as a child. V'achle, and his child will inherit this item, will enjoy it, so give it back, just in case. Shanamar, we find this phenomenon in a pasuk, Yochin v'tzadik gilbash. So the pasuk there speaks about a Rosh who repairs, and the tzaddik ends up taking over the assets. So likewise here, you never know, perhaps this item will end up in the possession of his son, a tzaddik. Continues the Gemara. So now Mishnah, we learned that there's a chiv to go back, to tend to streifas chametz, to tend to streifas kachim. What is the shear? How much chametz and kachim obligates returning? According to Rabbi Meir, the shear is kebetza. According to Rabbi Yehuda, kazais. Lememra. Do you mean to say that Rabbi Meir savar kebetza the chashiv? That a shear kebetza has significance and requires chazar? Rabbi Yehuda savar kazais nami chashiv. Even a smaller amount, even a kazais has significance. Ramini, we have a halacha which seems to present the same shittas in the reverse. At kama himazam. At what point is zimun, the birchas hazimun, and likewise birchas hamazon, required? How much does a person have to eat? At kazais. It needs to be bread, a share of kazais. So that's the shittas of Tanakama, Stamish, Rameir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer at kebetza. Only with a share kebetza is one chayiv in birchas hamazon. So you see that Rameir holds a kazais is something of significance. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, only a kebetza, which is the exact opposite of our Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan Machlav is Hashit. Indeed, the shittas there were switched around, reversed erroneously. But really it's Rameir who holds kebetza, Rabbi Yehuda holds kazais. Abaye Omer, no need to switch things around. Hasam Bekroi Pligi. These are two separate contexts, two separate discussions. The discussion there, the machlekes there, is Bekroi Pligi, based on psukim. Hacha Besvar Pligi, over here by us, the machlekes is based on svar. Hasam Bekroi Pligi, over there the machlekes is based on psukim. Rameir Somer. Ve'ochalta, the pasuk says, Ve'ochalta v'svota v'rachta, es Hashem Elokecha. That's the pasuk for Birchas Hamazon. Says Rameir, Ve'ochalta zu achila. That's referring to eating. V'savalta, that's referring to zu shtia, drinking. You know, there's a shita of Mordechai, one of the Rishonim, that if a person is thirsty and ate a meal without quenching his thirst, there's no chiv of Birchas Hamazon in Torah. So in Torah, one is meant to eat and drink if he's thirsty. And only then is there a chiv birchas hamazon. And actually, the Ramah in Shulchan Aruch brings that a person chatchila should be machmer like this sheet. So Rameir says, look, v'chalta is achil, which is a shir kazayis. V'savalta, that's the shtir. V'zushtir. V'achila b'kazayis. Achila generally is referring to a mas achil, which is a kazayis. So that's enough to be machai birchas hamazon. Rabbi Yehuda savar v'chalta v'savalta. It's not referring to ordinary achila, which is merely kazayis. You need a more prominent type of achila, v'chalta v'savat, achila sheish b'svia, an act of achila which has satiation. There's svia there, it satiates. Ve'ezoi zu b'kebetza. A kazayis is not enough. You need more than that. An achila sheish b'svia indicates you need more than kazayis in kebetza. So that's the basis of the machlekes by birchas hamazon. And actually, Tosfos points out that these shiurim of kazayis and kebetza are merely midrabanan. It's just an asmachta midrabanan because in our Torah, birchas hamazon only applies if a person has a full meal. Svia gemur is fully satiated. So this is merely midrabanan. It's either kazayis or kebetza. So that explains machlekes there. Hacha by us, with regards to bir chametz, streifas kachim, b'svara pligi. It's based on the svara, and therefore it's not necessarily linked to that machlekes, and it results in a reverse presentation. We're speaking about coming back midrabanan, right? Because in the Torah you can do bittul, and likewise when it comes to streifas kachim, as we explained, Since it's only kachim kalam, this chiyuv to come back and burn Yerushalayim is only jump on him. So when did the Chachamim obligate? When we have a significantly sized item here. How do we determine chashivas? So the Chachamim drew a parallel from elsewhere. Chazarase ketumase. The same shir that applies to tumah. We know that oichel, which has a shir kibetza, can transmit tumah. So chazarase ketumase, the chiyuv chazara in our Mishnah, is equated to the shir that we find by tumah. Ma tumase b'kibetza, af chazarase b'kibetza. So kibetza is considered to be something of significance, and that requires chazara by chametz and by kachim. That's Rabbi Meir's approach. Rabbi Yehuda Savar, we're going to compare it to something else. Chazarase kisuri. The obligation to return, to come back to do sreifa, is derived from the shir that we find by the isur, ma'isur b'kazayis. Just as when it comes to eating chametz, or eating the basar kodesh, which is pasul, when is there a chiyuv? A kazayis. Av chazarase b'kazayis. Likewise, when it comes to the chiyuv of burning it, we draw from there what is considered to be a significantly sized piece of chametz or kach, a kazayis. So that explains the machlokes in our Mishnah. Tanya, Rabbi Nassan Omer, zeh v'zeh kishtei beitzim, v'lo yoid lo chacham. Rabbi Nassan maintains that when it comes to chametz or kodesh, you need to have the shir, which equals 2 beitzim. That's considered to be something of real significance, which is mechayiv chazara. V'lo yoid lo chacham. Chacham disagreed with this sheet. Okay, time for a brief chazara of today's daf. We began with the first Mishnah. When is bir chametz done? When Erev Pesach falls on Shabbos. We have 3 shittas. According to Rabbi Meir, everything before Shabbos, except for what you actually need for Shabbos. We don't want you to engage in unnecessary exertion on Shabbos. Chachamim say, just in case, leave everything over and burn it and take care of it on Shabbos. Well, that's what Tzaddik says, Truma before Shabbos, because, there won't be any consumers when it comes to Chulin. You can leave it over. In fact, he had a story which proved this point. The Mishnah tells us we have 3 categories of a person who is in mid-journey and he recalls that he has chametz at home. If he's pursuing pikuach nefesh, then just proceed, do bittul and carry on. We don't want you to get preoccupied and perhaps miss out on the opportunity. If he's engaged in a non-mitzvah activity, go back at all costs and take care of your chametz. If it's a mitzvah trip, Mila, Pesach, or even a Sudas Eris, then it depends. If he has enough time available to go back home, be Mavar Chametz properly, and then proceed with the mitzvah, do so. But otherwise, just do bittul and proceed to the mitzvah. The Gemara tells us that there are 2 meals marking the occasion of the Erison. The initial meal at the time of the engagement, and then when the chassan sent some gifts, they would mark that as well with another ceremony. The first meal, all agree they Sudas mitzvah, because it's marking the Erison, which was the first phase in the Nisuan. It's all mitzvah related. Regarding the second Suda, Rabbi Yehuda says that's just a party to mark the gift-giving occasion. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda says that's also part and parcel of the engagement and the marriage. That's also considered a Sudas mitzvah. We learned that a Bas Kohen should be careful. Only marry somebody of her ilk, somebody at her level, a Kohen or a Talmud Chacham. The Gemara spoke about the greatness of marrying a Bas Talmud Chacham or handing over your daughter to a Bas Talmud Chacham at all costs. The Gemara spoke about the inappropriate behavior of Amaretz. And then we proceeded to the halacha of Chazara. Person discovers that he has chametz at home or kachim in his hand. He must go back and take care of it. At what point is there a chiyuv? How much chametz does he have? So according to Rabbi Meir, it's a shir kabetza, which requires, according to Abaye, because we compare it to tumah, where we find that shir kabetza is something of significance. According to Rabbi Yehuda, the shir kazayis is enough to obligate, as we find that kazayis carries significance when it comes to the isser of the chametz and of the kachim. And they want to conclude with another shita. Shtei beitzin, the Chum did not agree. In fact, we have a third shita in our Mishnah, that when it comes to the kodesh, the Chum say it's a kazayis. When it comes to the chametz, it's a kabetza. But that's over here. When it comes to Birchas Hamazon, we find that the shita somehow reverse themselves. And according to Abaye, there's no kasha at all. Because over here in our Gemara, it's based on Sfar, as we just explained, as opposed to the halacha of Birchas Hamazon, it's based on psukim. V'chalta b'savata v'rachta. According to Rabbi Meir, v'chalta, achila is shir kazayis. According to Rabbi Yehuda, v'chalta b'savata indicates you need more than just a plain achila. It needs to be achila sheish b'svia, which is a kibetza. Again, Tosfos says this is only the Rabbanon, not Torah. It needs to be a full meal, fully satiated, in order to be mechay b'chas hamazon, as the pasuk says, "V'achalta v'savata, u'v'irachta es Hashem lekech." Take care. Have a good day. Hatzlacha Rabbah.